This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
6:45 a.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Mario Vijayawardena. The headlines. The no confidence motion against Minister Gammanpila in the House today. The members of the ruling party unanimously decided to defeat the NCM at the first instance. A 4.3 economic growth was observed during the first quarter of this year amidst the coronavirus pandemic. A case will be filed against the suspects of the Easter Sunday attack during this week. In the COVID-19 update, 380 new cases take the daily count to 1,402 yesterday. Meanwhile, more COVID-19 recoveries brings the tally to 256,676. Sri Lanka reports 46 more COVID-19 deaths. In news overseas, Pegasus spyware sold to government's targets activists. In sports, Dhawan, Kishan and Shaw lead Sri Lanka after Kuldeep Chahal shine. The Parliament will meet today and tomorrow to debate the no-confidence motion NCM tabled by the opposition against the Energy Minister Udaya Gammanpila. On both days, Parliament will commence at 10 a.m. and the sessions will continue until 5:30 p.m. with lunch scheduled from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. The second day will commence at 10 a.m. and time has been allocated until 11 a.m. for oral questions. The vote is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. on July 20th. The leader of the House, Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, however, said that the government faction will vote to defeat the no-confidence motion tabled by the opposition against the Energy Minister Udaya Gammanpila. Speaking to the media over the Parliament debate scheduled for today on the motion, the minister said the no-confidence motion will be defeated. Meanwhile, the Environment Minister Mahinda Amaraveera said that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party will not support the Samagi Janabalawegya's no-confidence motion against the Energy Minister Udaya Gammanpila. He told the media that Gammanpila's decision to increase the fuel prices was not an independent decision, but it was taken on the recommendations of the Cabinet and the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Meanwhile, the members of the ruling party unanimously decided to defeat the NCM at the first instance. A 4.3 economic growth was observed during the first quarter of this year amidst the coronavirus pandemic. The Department of Census and Statistics says the production and service sectors were maintained at an average level during this time. It is also noted that there is a substantial growth in the GDP during the first quarter when compared to the same period last year. Last year it was recorded as 1.8% of the GDP. This year it is recorded as 4.3%. The agriculture sector showed a growth of 6.1% this year. The Department of Census and Statistics released estimates of GDP and other macroeconomic indicators at current prices and fixed prices 2010 under the product process for the period from January 1st to March 31st, 2021. The second wave of the COVID pandemic, which started in October 2020, is expected to have an impact on economic activity in the first quarter of 2021. The department noted that many businesses and economies continued to operate despite the restrictions imposed by the second wave of the COVID wave, and that the conduct of many economies remained at a satisfactory level throughout the first quarter of 2021, with the new normalization of people's lives in the midst of the epidemic. According to the Department of Census and Statistics, the country's economic growth in the first quarter of this year is estimated to bounce back in line with the GDP growth in the first quarter of 2021. Criminal cases will be filed against the suspects of the Easter Sunday attack during this week. The criminal cases will be filed against the suspects where the preliminary investigations are completed. The Government Analysts Department says the necessary documents pertaining to the investigations have been submitted to the Attorney General's Department. 724 suspects have been arrested in connection with the Easter Sunday attack, out of which 223 7 suspects have been kept at remand custody. Interrogations are conducted from 86 suspects. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Call 0718 800 999.
A total of 380 more people tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday, raising the daily count of positive cases to 1,402. According to the Government Information Department, the new cases reported have been associated with the New Year cluster, which has recorded a total of 276,730 virus infections since mid-April this year. The new development has brought Sri Lanka's confirmed coronavirus cases tally to 284,914. The epidemiology unit's data showed that as many as 256,676 patients who were infected with the virus have regained health so far. Meanwhile, the death toll now stands at 3,779. More than 24,000 are currently under medical care at selected hospitals and treatment centers across the country. The Ministry of Health says that another 843 patients who were being treated for COVID-19 have been discharged after completing their recovery yesterday. This increases the country's coronavirus recoveries to 256,676. Sri Lanka has thus far confirmed a total of 283,512 positive cases of COVID-19, while 23,103 patients infected with the virus are currently under medical care. The death toll due to the virus currently stands at 3,779. The Director General of Health Services has confirmed 46 more COVID-19 related fatalities that have occurred yesterday. The new development has pushed the official death toll due to the virus in Sri Lanka to 3,779. According to the data released by the Department of Government Information, the new victims confirmed include 16 females and 30 males. None of them are aged below 30 years. 13 victims are between 30 to 59 years and the remaining 33 are aged 60 and above. That's local news.
An important announcement from HDFC Bank. A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security. Call 0718 800 999. HDFC. An important announcement from HDFC Bank. A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security. Call 0718 800 999. HDFC.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
It is expected to complete the Uma Oya multipurpose mega project before the end of this year. The Arab organization of Iran, which is involved in the construction of this project, has officially informed of the completion date to the Minister of Irrigation, Chamal Rajapaksa. A special meeting in this regard was held recently under the chairmanship of Minister Chamal Rajapaksa, with the participation of the Iranian ambassador, the special envoy to the project, and experts and other stakeholders of the project. The Uma Oya concept was developed in the year 2008 when Mahinda Rajapaksa was the president, and it was well mentioned in the Mahinda Chintana. 120 megawatts of electricity will be added to the national grid through this project. This project will provide irrigation facilities for the cultivation of 6,000 hectares of land.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And now in Watchlight, the health officials request the public to follow the health guidelines during this period. Although the travel restrictions are relaxed, the inter-provincial travel restrictions will be enforced without any change. The public is requested to follow the special guidelines released by the Health Ministry to control the third wave of the coronavirus outbreak. The health officials warn that further travel restrictions will be determined in the future based on the behavior of the general public. That came to you in Watchlight. In world news headlines, Pegasus spyware sold to government's targets activists. Kenyan fuel tanker explodes, killing at least 13. Kurt Westergaard, Danish cartoonist behind Mohammed Cartoon, dies at 86. Rights activists, journalists and lawyers around the world have been targeted with phone malware sold to authoritarian governments by an Israeli surveillance firm, media reports say. They are on a list of up to 50,000 phone numbers of people believed to be of interest to clients of the company NSO leaked to major news outlets. It is not clear where the list came from or whose phones had actually been hacked. NSO denies any wrongdoing. At least 13 people were killed when a petrol tanker overturned and caught fire in western Kenya at the weekend. The truck collided with another vehicle on a highway between Kisumu and Busia late on Saturday. Witnesses described the crash scene as a huge fireball. People had rushed to the scene with jerrycans to siphon off fuel from the overturned tanker before it exploded. A local police chief said 24 people were in hospital with serious burns and said children were among the injured. Kurt Westergaard, a Danish cartoonist whose caricature of the Prophet Muhammad outraged many Muslims worldwide, has died at the age of 86. His family said he died after a long illness, the Berlingske newspaper reported yesterday. Westergaard was a cartoonist for the conservative Jylland-Posten newspaper from the early 1980s. He became world famous in 2005 for his controversial depiction of the Prophet Muhammad in the newspaper. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. Pegasus spyware sold to government's targets activists. Kenyan fuel tanker explodes, killing at least 13. Kurt Westergaard, Danish cartoonist behind Muhammad cartoon, dies at 86. That was world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Prawn breeding activities are being carried out in the Puttalama district in a successful manner. 2,924 prawn breeding farms are functioning in this area. A special discussion on developing prawn production was held recently under the patronage of Minister Bandula Gunavarthana. It is expected to earn around $600 million of foreign income within 3 years through prawn exports.
Development News was brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
And now in sports news, in cricket, India won the first ODI against Sri Lanka by 7 wickets. The match was played as a day and night encounter yesterday at the R. Premadasa Cricket Stadium. Prithvi Shaw played gloriously through the offside debutant. Ishan Kishan lit up the stadium with a thumping 50 on his birthday, and Shikhar Dhawan saw the chase through from start to finish as India's second string served Sri Lanka walloping first up. Chasing the hosts' half-decent 262 for 9, India galloped home with 80 balls and 7 wickets remaining. Long passages in their innings were more a celebration of their batting depth and fearlessness than a serious contest. Sri Lanka's bowlers were unable to contain them no matter which field or angle of attack they employed. In scores, Sri Lanka batted first and made 262 for 9 in their allotted 50 overs. In reply, India reached the victory target, losing only 3 wickets.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The Joint Apparel Association Forum expressed optimism over the possibility of securing an industry-critical extension of the EU GSP Plus program after its most recent round of discussions with the State Ministry of Regional Cooperation. Taking place on July 16, 2021, the meeting was the third in a series of discussions initiated with the support of Minister Namal Rajapaksa and Taraka Balasuriya to create a platform for the industry to deliberate with the key government officials over issues faced by the apparel sector.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The C-19 vaccination program for the tourism sector, which began from Hambantota last week, was administered in Sigiriya using the American Moderna vaccine that was recently brought to Sri Lanka under the World Health Organization COVAX program. A special vaccination program is to be implemented for those who are engaged in tourism in the area in the eastern province by next week. Tourism Minister Prasanna Ranatunga said, quote, as Singapore has opened up the country, Sri Lanka too will be able to open the country for tourists with this successful vaccination process, unquote, he said.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department says showers will occur at times in the Sabaragamu and the central provinces. Several spells of showers will occur in the western province and in the Gala and Mathura districts. Fairly strong gusty winds up to 40 to 50 kilometers per hour at times are likely across the island, and strong gusty winds up to 60 kilometers per hour at times can be expected in the western slopes of the central hills. This weather report was issued at 4:30 a.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the international weather forecast website AccuWeather.com predicts that Colombo's weather would be generally bright during the day, but there will be cloudy weather in the afternoon. Today's daytime temperature would be around 31 degrees Celsius. There will be light showers in many places in the Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature will be around 28 degrees Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be 27 degrees Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index is 16, which shows a fair condition in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
And now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The no-confidence motion against Minister Gamban Pillai in the House today. The members of the ruling party unanimously decided to defeat the NCM at the first instance. A 4.3% economic growth was observed during the first quarter of this year amidst the coronavirus pandemic. A case will be filed against the suspects of the Easter Sunday attack during this week. In the COVID-19 update, 380 new cases take the daily count to 1,402 yesterday. Meanwhile, more COVID-19 recoveries brings the tally to 256,676. Sri Lanka reports 46 more COVID-19 deaths. In news overseas, Pegasus spyware sold to government's targets activists. In sports, Dhawan, Kishan and Shaw lead Sri Lanka route after Kuldeep, Chahal shine. That concludes this news broadcast.